This should ideally be the only time I do 3 characters at once, because these 3 are unique in a weird way. I created them at different times and for different things, but the more I wrote them, the more they drifted together. Eventually they turned into a very close-knit friend group, which I believe is how they are best presented. I'll start with brief summaries, then get into specifics, just like last time I guess. Emily is a highly optimistic and positive woman with a habit of looking past or forgiving many things that other people do not. She is intuitive, encouraging, and dangerously spontaneous. Her idea of fun can be a bit unusual, but she is a genuinely caring person who wants the best for the people around her, even if she's a tad mischievous. Katie is a somewhat reformed psychopathic woman with a deep, almost motherly love for her 2 friends. She despises being talked down to and has to actively control herself to refrain from violence, which doesn't always work. She's very warm to her friends and quite cold to others. The difference is almost night and day. Dee is a woman who's, well, okay, there's no nice way to say this. Dee is an emotionally stunted idiot. She acts first and barely thinks ever, which can get her into a lot of trouble. She's blunt and often doesn't understand what's going on unless it's very straightforward. Her only saving grace is that she's a loyal friend and she does care. She's just really bad at caring. Now, the real part is how they act together and how they handle each other's flaws. Emily is like the group's compass. She helps keep things mostly on track, and I say mostly because she's not the most reliable person herself. She's usually the one organizing things and keeping the other 2 from doing anything too bad. She's the type to try to direct Dee to prevent her from doing anything too stupid, and the type to lecture Katie about inner mantras and self-control if she ever uses violence. Emily herself is not that controlled, so it's kind of like a delinquent trying to guide 2 other delinquents. Katie will let basically anything slide if it comes from her 2 friends, because she sort of views them as possessions rather than people. She has a very hard time discerning what she should and shouldn't do as a friend, so she just protects them like they're personal treasures and doesn't really push back against anything either of them do. It's not that she doesn't love them, it's that she just doesn't understand how to love them. Not really, anyway. So she ends up being more of an enabler than a friend. Dee is like outlandishly stupid, and she never really matured as a person. So she's kind of like a problem child who says and does what she wants because that's as far as she can think. She's not really a bad person, but she can be highly annoying to anybody who isn't patient enough. She yells to express herself, can't really do anything right, and her friends are borderline caretakers for her. Her idea of a meal is a box of cookies, because if cookies taste good, then they must be good for you. She takes a lot of things very literally. More often than not, it's Dee who gets into trouble and has to be helped by the other 2. I've written them into various things, and they really are just a trio of trouble. They're bound to do something or get into some kind of situation. Just like last time, I'm not going to show any detailed examples of how they speak or what they've done, but I can explain how they'd interact and how they might think. Let's say that Katie is in a sour mood. She's just ready to deck somebody at a moment's notice. Dee sees this, and she thinks that Katie must be really upset about something. She rubs her 2 brain cells together and decides that ice cream fixes everything, so giving Katie ice cream will solve her problem. Dee grabs Emily to help her, because she can't be trusted with any amount of money. Emily knows that ice cream doesn't solve everything, but that the honest act of kindness will. So she goes along with Dee and helps her. Dee will give the ice cream to Katie, which does improve her mood solely because it was Dee who did something kind for her. Dee goes on believing that ice cream really does fix everything, and nobody corrects her because it would take too long and it would ruin the moment. The earnestness of it is all that Katie really needed, and Emily was just facilitating what she knew would have a positive effect regardless. They all kind of link together in this weird broken way that only works in practice but not really on paper. It would be difficult to look at each one separately and say they'd be best friends, which is kind of why I found them so fun to write. There are plenty of ways to alter and adapt them, of course. Maybe they're all afraid of something, and that's what keeps them together. Maybe they all got stranded together and they just kind of worked out this way. Maybe all of their parents died at the same time and now they are each other's parents. That's really terrible, don't use that. Can't even say that with a straight face. But whatever, do whatever, who cares? You could also change how deranged they are, depending on where you put them. I mostly wrote slice of life, so I kept them fairly tame in the long run. But they also ended up in other places as complete monsters. It depends, really. This is a little less detailed than the last one, but I don't want to include anything unnecessary. Filling in the blanks yourself is part of the fun, after all.